Arya, a media communication student from the batch of 2022, and I will be your moderator for the evening. It is a pleasure to have you all here. Today, we're being joined by Ashwin Lawanghare, a Hall of Fame student from the 2019 batch. He has successfully co founded two ventures, Master My Life EQ Education and Master My Life Foundation. Ashwin has had hands on experience with marketing strategy, planning, and business development. While working on brands like Starwood, Hotstar, Big Bazaar, Yumi and Life, and the Star Seniors. During his brief stint in the education sector, he has mentored over 1,500 students and is actively working to spread awareness about life skills at a grassroots level. Ashwin, it is a pleasure to be interacting with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you for such a lovely introduction.
So, before we begin, all the participants are requested to note their questions and put them down in the Q&A box. Your questions will be answered towards the end of the session. So Ashwin, before we begin, could you tell us a bit about your experience at SCMC? You graduated right before the pandemic hit us, so I'm sure you would have gotten the chance to enjoy the life on campus.
Yeah, definitely. The experience at SCMC differs from person to person, and that's what the beauty of those that experience, that atmosphere is. It can be the canteen that closes off at 6 p.m., or it could simply be the difference that you experience in each classroom, from the media room to the library to the computer lab. It's an experience in itself, right? And what I enjoyed the most at SCMC is the people of SCMC, right from the people that take care of you to the people that are with you, right? That is what essentially defines the experience of all the batches there.
Definitely, and I think from what you've said, it just makes me really nostalgic and also gives me a little bit of FOMO because, well, I just got to be on campus for a year. So, Ashwin, following up on that, you made it to the top of your class, the Hall of Fame, and now your name is engraved on the walls for college. So, how was that feeling? It must be exhilarating to have achieved something so wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good feeling. Uh, SCMC is pretty competitive at its best, at its finest, right? And you would be greeted with some quality individuals during your journey. So it was a pleasure, in fact, to have collaborated with amazing individuals, to have known them, to have worked with them, right? And it is, again, an experience in itself.
Certainly. So, after graduating, you've worked in many different roles from business development to planning and content. So, when was it that you decided that you wanted to start your own venture?
In fact, I was clear right from the start, before joining. See, I've been in I've dropped out of engineering before joining SCMC. So when I decided to join SCMC, it was very clear. It was pretty clear for me. I wanted to get into, you can say, a cohort in an ecosystem which gives me diverse knowledge into business management and into various other things, where I would develop, say, core technical skills as well. So when I joined in, I was certain and I was clear that I wanted to, refurbish as well as refresh my skills in terms of my entrepreneurial acumen is concerned. And in fact, I did start very much in SCMC when it comes to my entrepreneurial journey, to kickstart and to test how the waters were.
Absolutely, and I think that just from hearing it, I think that has been a wonderful journey, and it has given me something to think about. And I'm sure a lot of students and aspirants watching here have the same thought process right now. So, to follow up on this question, we would love to know a bit more about your ventures. What are Master My Life EQ Education and Master My Life Foundation? And what was your inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so essentially, the inspiration was pretty simple. I never liked going to school or being confined to the four walls. And when I grew up, I understood that most of the things that we study at school, we rarely use in our day to day lives. And when it comes to living life holistically or living life in a complete sense, most of the experience and most of the insights that we gain are by practical exposure, and are, of course, by experiences that you gain or you learn as you grow. However, what I feel is that the key component of life skills, right? Life oriented education and quality of life enhancement is lacking into our primary, into our mainstream education systems. I mean, yes, of course, you could do certifications, and there is a myriad of content available out there when it comes to upskilling, enhancing yourself, if that is your interest area. But I believe at a very early age, it is very important to induce life skills into an individual. So MML started with this idea of creating a platform where content and knowledge and skills such as emotional intelligence, behavioral intelligence, human psychology, as well as coaching for that matter, are available and made available to the grassroots of the society. So this is what the idea of MML was. So tomorrow in our classrooms, we should also be greeted with psychology, concepts of emotional intelligence, and various things that will enable us to develop our relationships, find our purpose, as well as find our qualities and strengths at a very early age in our lives, so that we could focus on those areas that would allow us to exponentially grow when we go into college, as well as when we go into professional life.
Certainly, and I definitely think what you said is wonderful. And I suppose the boom of internship these days, as you would agree, is making so many dreams come true. In fact, we recently started an entrepreneurship cell to guide and help budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. And on that note, I believe there are many budding entrepreneurs watching this webinar right now. So, what would be your piece of advice to them for starting their own venture right out of college?
Actually, if you ask me, the I wouldn't call it an advice, but I would say it is an action pointer. Just start. Just start. That's it. Just have an idea. Do not wait for it to grow, be refined, or for it to be world class. Just start, see what happens, learn, grow, and then take the next step. So that's how you grow as an entrepreneur. The idea of entrepreneurship is not to have the greatest idea, or not to have the greatest ecosystem to support it. It is essentially to take action in the littlest way possible, and be efficient at taking action every single day. So if you're in college, and especially from a work from home environment, I'm certain you would be saving time, right? So the idea is to collaborate with like-minded people and start on what you feel you want to do, right? And that's it. And learn. That's all.
Definitely. So thank you so much for that, Ashwin. So, what were some of the challenges that you faced during the pandemic, both as an entrepreneur and as an enabler of students through MML?
Yeah, so in fact, it was pretty interesting. The reason being is that just like how all of our classes at Symbiosis are online, I also run a master's degree institute and many international certifications at MML. So all of our classes had to be moved online too. So the challenging bit here was to create a vivid, lucrative, and an experience that engages all the adults that engage with our programs on the online front. So it called for instant innovation. It called for an instant response to the new normal, and that sort of it required a lot of agility and pace in terms of creating a experience that allowed us to preserve our end result. The end result would be making them learn in an effective way, right, at a surface level, of course. So this was challenging, and this required us to dabble into gamification. This required us to dabble into community and culture building in online classrooms. So this had to be implemented within months, right? Things that could take years to master. So that is where the challenge came. The second challenge was, of course, when you have, say, limited products in your basket, you also need to diversify based on the changes that take place. Not only that, but the way your teams function, you need to diversify in terms of how you manage your teams as well. So all of these changes, they came all together, and it was extremely vivid and jarring at the same time. But the experience of solving these and creating creating structures that would enable us to thrive, that was, I think, a beautiful journey at the end of the day. So yes, a lot of challenges, but if you're agile and if you can diversify quickly, I'm sure that businesses can sustain.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And to follow up on that, there are so many entities, big and small, adopting to the remote work model. So do you think the trend is here to stay?
100% it is. It will be a hybrid when we move on from the pandemic, when we are at a better place. It will be a percentage of, you can say, work from home as well as work from office. And I believe that's how we are going to proceed, because there are certain domains, departments, and teams that can perform better when it is a work from home environment. And there are, of course, certain domains that do require that presence. So I believe that it is here to stay from the point of view of an hybrid structure that can arise and that will arise in companies, depending on how they want to function, what their industries are, what their departments are, and how they want to, you can say, iron out as well as streamline their profitability.
Certainly, that is some real food for thought. And you had mentioned that there are a bunch of challenges, and I'm sure one of them is having a work life balance. And working from home doesn't mean working 24/7. So, how do you maintain your work life balance? Because both of them exist in the same room at this particular juncture.
Definitely. See, what I would like to highlight here, what you mentioned is working from home does not mean does not mean working 24/7, right? So, I mean, maintaining work-life balance is a very dynamic topic, and it depends from person to person, because the idea of balance, as well as what you're going to juggle between work and what is different from person to person, right? So to put it in a very simple sense, what are the pros of working from home? There are certain things that you do not do, which is travel, which is get into, maybe travel is one. Getting very few of us, don't spend much time in getting ready. So there is a chunk of time that you save, right? So that is one pro. So one con could be, which I am seeing as a trend, is that because it's work from home, 24/7 work or being contacted at odd hours is becoming a trend. So if you ask me, it is the balance is basically figuring out what is important to you and what is your priority when it comes to non-work. And whatever pockets of time that you get when you space out your work, use those pockets of time to indulge in the activities that you enjoy, even if it is the same room. And the second and the most important thing, which I believe, is that a work from home culture reduces the connectivity interaction, or can increase communication gaps if you don't have a good communication system at your workplace. So it is always good to be in a constant communication loop and close your communication loop, whether it is on business, your email, or whether it is on your WhatsApp. So always be in touch and close all your communication loops with your reporting authorities as well as your colleagues, so that you are in the loop all the time. Sometimes what might happen is that due to minor inefficiencies that you can avoid, you might fall into a trap, and then your work day simply might extend. So it's always good to be in the loop, keep yourself in the loop, as well as take out those pockets of time that you're ultimately saving, because it's a work from home environment. Use that pocket of time to essentially create value for yourself to maintain that balance.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing your thoughts in this. And Moving on, I think you'd agree that internships and first jobs, they play a key role in defining one's career trajectory, and how we perform there can either have a positive or a negative consequence. So, many of our attendees are about to start with the first jobs or internships or even virtual classes. What tips would you give them to adapt to the work from home culture additionally? And how can one be proactive without burning out?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, I believe. Internships, if you ask me, are I think the key differentiating factor, as well as that is your gold at SCMC, is what I can say. And 100% of the times it's going to give you an experience that's going to be your learning block to move further, right? So at an internship you're going to understand whether this is what I am enjoying or whether this is what I like doing. Of course, you're also going to understand what are the other things that are there that I could latch onto in the same organization when you have that cross functional exposure. And ultimately, this helps you narrow down into where you want to go and what you want to do. So this is very important, this is extremely important when it comes to the work from home culture and excelling in your internships. Work from home, the solution is very simple, and I would revert to my theme of discussion when we were discussing work from home earlier. The idea is to make sure that you're efficient at your communication, you do your work on time, and you maintain a constant communication loop, and you close the loop by taking feedback, right? So that proactivity is essentially a reflection of your attitude. And if you are able to be efficient and maintain that communication loop and close that communication loop in a very simple sense, you will automatically notice that you build positive resonance in the eyes of the people that are working with you, be it your subordinates or be it your bosses. So this is what to say, this is key, this is the essence. And constant feedback is very important. Wherever you have a doubt, what happens is when you're working from home, since you're not in the same environment, you don't have this particular person coming, or you can't immediately approach this person. So maintain a constant feedback mechanism that allows you to optimize and save your time, so that prevents burnout as well, right? Ultimately, many a times what we do is we miss out on what the purpose of this assignment is, right? And there are a lot of communication loopholes that could exist. So the more you close these communication loopholes and address them in your workday as well as throughout your internship, the more efficient you will be, and the more you will have, the more impact you will bring to the table.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And coming back to your college days, were you were able to make your mark in SCMC's Hall of Fame, and so what advice coming from that experience would you give to your juniors to make most of their SCMC journey without losing the sight of the goal?
Yeah. See, the idea of being an SCMC is not to make it to the Hall of Fame. That's not even in the top three priorities, if you ask me. The Hall of Fame is not important from the point of view of your individuality as well as your journey of growth that you will experience. I'm going to trace back to something that I mentioned in the very start of this conversation. You are going to experience your growth as well as your journey very differently from, say, your best friend or your colleague at SCMC, right? The idea is to come here with an intention of learning, improving, growing, and to have that goal set in your mind, which will allow you to reach that goal semester by semester, year by year, and finally at the end of your journey, right? So what's more important, or what you should prioritize, is whether you are growing in the right direction and you are going in the right direction ultimately. So that's what's important, because if you talk to every student, you see that you would get um, uh, you would have a huge difference in the aspirations that one student might have over the other, right? And some could be very focused, some could be very diverse. So that the idea is to do justice to what your goal is, and before that it's to reflect if you have set that goal, that personal goal, right, at SCMC. And I believe that's what's important. So keep eyes on your personal goal and have your personal goal, because it's going to be very different from the person next to you.
Definitely. So, on that note, to sort of offer to sort of offer an overall perspective on this, what kind of experience can a student or an aspirant look forward to while coming to SCMC?
Yeah, so the biggest experience that I think a person can experience at SCMC is the broadening of your perspective. All right, because if you've been through, say, 3 years at SCMC, with the interactions that you will have, the things that you will be studying, and what you will experience, right, from the point of view of the assignments, the activities, right? It would be the field trips, which would return soon, I hope. The idea is that you grow, you grow, your mindset grows, right? You grow as a person too. And I'm talking at a very contextual level here, wherein, see, let me put it in a very simple way. Okay, you study finance, you study design, you study literature, and you study economics, right? So this is the type of, you can say, knowledge that you're subjected to over here. Look at the effervescence and look at the difference, and look at the diversity that your mind gets subjected to. And as you're indulging in these subjects, and as you're having these experiences, it happens at a very subconscious level, but you become more refined as a person, right? Be it your taste or be it your approach. And that, I think, is what really is the SCMC experience, and that is what you're going to experience. You might not really be conscious about it, but that's what you're going to experience, and you will enjoy. And then you will look back at your years, right? Doesn't matter if it is in campus or off campus, you're not able to experience campus life, but you're going to be essentially subjected to the same thought process that more than 10 generations before you have experienced. So I think that's the beauty. I mean, that's the beauty of the SCMC experience, which all of you get to experience, and will experience, and you will enjoy in your own way.
Definitely. And while you were walking us through your perspective, I was reflecting on all of everything that you said, and I think you are absolutely right in so many ways about that. And thank you so much for your wonderful answers and profound insights. And I'm sure a lot of us have so much to take away from them and a lot to think about. And that's something we're going to sleep thinking over. Now we have some of our attendees asking a few questions that I'd like to put forward. So the first question is, as an entrepreneur, what is more important, communication skills or technical skills?
As an entrepreneur, I believe all sort of skills that you can gain in the limited time that you have are extraordinarily important. You cannot juggle between multiple skills, because you're essentially managing systems, you're essentially taking care of people, and ultimately you want to win in the industry that you are in. So at certain stages, when in your journey you're going to need technical skills, and many of the times when you're managing people, you're going to need communication skills as well, right? And these are again broad terms, but what I would suggest is, if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, have a T-shaped skill set. You can Google this term. It essentially allows you to have a broader spectrum of skill sets that you could utilize in your journey.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that. So our next question is, how do we know what specialization would be our niche? How did you know what did you want to major in?
Okay, so you are going to know when you are going to experience the different subjects that your specialization entails, as well as through your internships as well as through the experience sharing of your seniors in terms of what it is. Now, when it comes to your specialization, I'm going to track back to one theme that I explored during this conversation, and that is, what is your goal at the end of the day? Right, what is your goal from this journey, from a personal point of view and also from a professional point of view? When you map that goal to any of the four specializations, all you have to see is which of the specialization suits my goal, be it a financial goal or a touch point that I might have, or be it a career oriented or a future oriented or a growth oriented goal regarding my career that I might have, or be it my own creative affinity and instinct, which which does justice to my goal. And then your choice becomes very simple, it becomes very easy, right? And this choice becomes simpler and simpler as you experience semester 1, semester 2, and then automatically you get into that particular, you can say, that environment, hence you are able to make that decision. But you have to craft your decision making based on the goal that you decide for yourself in this journey, the SCMC journey.
Thank you so much for that. So, our next question is, while we might be studying from home, how do we network in this scenario as well?
Great. Very good question. And whoever has asked this question, I think uh, you will most definitely enjoy the SEMC experience if you network well with your peers, especially in this environment. So, to start with, let me tell you something. Be the one to take initiative. All right. Create, say, groups. Create groups based on interests, or create groups based on the strength as well as the batch tag, and keep these groups active and ensure that you're the ones who becomes a sort of a community manager, because I understand that at these times gatherings are difficult. So use the power of technology and the internet to keep your community and the SMC community up and going. Be a part of the official communities as well as groups. Use LinkedIn, which is a powerful medium in terms of professional connections. Most of your colleagues are going to be on LinkedIn, the serious ones at that. So connect with them on LinkedIn and maintain a professional channel with them, is what I can say. And during classes, right? During classes, ensure that there are conversations, you have contextual conversation with people. Also request your classes or request your teachers to have informal meetings. Right, I'm not sure if that's a part of the culture now, but have informal meetings which go beyond classroom hours. Or maybe you could have a session in between two different sessions during the time frame to communicate, introduce each other and connect with each other. I think that would be a great way to start in terms of networking efficiently.
I'm sure there are a lot more questions that our attendees have, but considering the time constraints, we have to stop here. But hopefully, we can all connect with you and interact outside this forum for your guidance.
Yeah, certainly. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can ask me any questions that you might need. And if you need any insights, feel free to contact.
So, Ashwin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your experience with us. It was an extremely insightful session. I would like to take this moment to thank all our attendees who have joined us today. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all had an amazing time listening to Ashwin, and we'll be back with another webinar soon. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.